So we're going to do something a little bit similar to one of the last videos, and I'm going to talk two things. One is my feature documentary about the Sewol ferry, the Korean tragedy, but also about documentary in general and how you can pick any starting point to work from. I mean, when I think about documentary ideas, and they don't all see the light of day, but there's quite a few that I've outlined, made in notes on how I might do it, that almost the whole story this is somebody we meet who's a real life person maybe, or it's I don't know, like a business or something, and you kind of shape the story, or the story of that business or that person shapes, it kind of does its own shaping. But with regards to, for example, this film, this documentary, I didn't have a starting point, but I did have some video art that I was so keen on it. I was going to kind of put it out there as a standalone video art, and that's how it was going to be. And I then started to think, right, I want to introduce this as the video art. I don't want it just to be the video art. I want it to be a bit more than that, because it meant so much to me, and it would, I think, mean so much to the families of the victims, the survivors of this Sewol ferry tragedy, the friends of the people lost, and activists, and well, a lot of people. But not only that, because it was kind of rare, I think it was rare footage really, because I went to the ferry in 2017 in South Korea, and I thought, well, how, I had this music straight away that I wanted to use, and I thought, I know I wanted this to be, I could have finished in 2017 or 18 as it was, and it had that particular segment of the full-length documentary, the full thing, hasn't changed much. But I guess what I'm saying is that in this featured documentary now, that it wasn't going to be, it was only going to be part of a 10-minute or 15-minute video art montage, really a montage with music, a few words, and it wasn't going to be that much. But now, in this documentary, as it now stands, this particular video art features as kind of part 9, I think it's part 9 of 10 parts in the film. So it's towards the end, but to me it's significant, and the documentary wouldn't have been a documentary, this feature wouldn't have been a feature without this video art, because that's what inspired me. And in fact, I remember, I think it was March last year, so it's kind of the month before the 10-year anniversary for the Sewol ferry, which I wasn't sure if I was actually going to go over to Korea for. I got a friend of mine who's a good cinematographer. He met me in Bangkok. We filmed something in the Korean Cultural Center in Bangkok, and yes, you can even see that in this full-length documentary, and it plays quite a part, quite a significant part in the film, like the video art does. But at that point when he recorded me there, and the exhibition was a spring-related exhibition, and it was very, in my opinion, apt. Hence I requested that could he film me in that place. And at that point, I think it was only so I could do the introduction to the video art. And I thought, well, also he's very good at shooting stuff, so it's if you start off with something good, like good audio or good quality footage in a film, and even if you end up with something that follows that's less quality, you know, the footage I shot in 2017 at the ferry is probably not the best quality. It is with my, you know, it's with a DSLR camera. So I think it's pretty good, but it's also on the fly. It was very kind of random, very spontaneous. But, you know, and I felt like using that footage from something really decent, up to date as well, could kind of, you know, tell the story leading to that video art. And then, as I say, I went to a big film festival in Korea, Jeonju International Film Festival. They had 6 films relating to the same subject matter, because a lot of Koreans have made. There've been a lot of films about this from a Korean perspective. There's been a handful, perhaps, by non-Koreans, even an English person or two like myself, a British person. And you know, all from different angles, and those 6 films at Jeonju for different angles. But then it kind of clicked how I could. It wouldn't just be a film about that footage. It would be about the activism we do in London. It would, you know, we've been doing for a decade. It would be about that, but also it would be, you know, the journey and how things have gone, and the memorials that I've visited, and last year and before, different memorials in Korea that are really important, and they're important to me as well, obviously as well, you know. So I guess what I'm saying is, and this kind of relates to people that you might love Christopher Nolan, and I'm not sure, you know, he's not my favorite director, but there's something that he said about his film Following, and I didn't know that. I don't know if this was something I noticed he said after I, you know, had this idea sort of early 2024, but he said something about, you know, the audio being the really crisp audio at the beginning of that film Following, and maybe really good quality video footage. I can't remember. I think it's the audio. And he said it didn't really matter afterwards because it was his first feature and one of his first films, that it doesn't matter if the stuff that follows isn't that great. You know, maybe the imagery isn't that great, maybe the audio's not that great, but if you open with something, you know, that's really good and decent, that you've got people, you know, I mean, I've seen documentaries that, you know, you have to work with some footage or audio that you just can't make perfect, and that's how it's going to be in the film. But where, you know, and so I'm kind of drifting off the topic here, but what I'm saying is, you can start from anywhere. You know, you might have a vague plan of a documentary, you might have some starting point, you might have filmed something, and then that's all you've got, a character or a venue or some terrible thing that happened. Someone might have given you some footage, but that's all you've got. Is like, well, how can I make a film about this? Either a short or a mid-length short or a feature. You think, you know, if you know, you can work from that backwards or forwards. You can go in the middle. It could, you know, it can lead up to that, which is kind of what mine does. Because, as I say, it was really big to me. But actually, although it's really big to me, important to me, that footage and that video art, I suppose I keep calling it video art. It's montage, whatever, documontage. I was calling it for a while. Sorry, I keep uncovering my mic because I'm trying to kind of keep it discreet, but then I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a bit muffled. Really quiet. I'm in an airport here, and it's really quiet. It's really early. It's in this particular where I am. It's 3:30. No, I think it's 4:30 a.m. So I'm getting a flight in 3 or 4 hours from now, even. Anyway, so so going back to that, yeah, it doesn't. You know, what I was going to say was, even though that bit is significant for me, and from 2017 when I got that footage, which was 3 years after the tragedy happened, it's still actually, now I watch it back with the 8 parts before that, and I think, oh no, that's so important. That other stuff, yeah, the video art's still important to me, and it's there, and it's build up to it. But all that other stuff, because it's become a feature that wasn't going to be, you know, I think it really, I don't know. I'm not trying to praise this, you know, our own material, my own material, the own project, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to say that you can make something very good, something that you wouldn't have imagined that you could make, even from a 5-minute interview with someone, perhaps, you know. Okay, that's it. I'm going to leave it there, and yeah, I'll speak to you in the next one. All right, see ya.